want some of this?
Did someone say first take in the afternoon?
You want some of this?
Wait. I get to battle Stephen A. in the midday?
You want some of this?
Cutting it close to your bedtime. You gonna be okay?
Step into me, kid, then you gone.
Guys, save it for June 30th and July 1st. That's right, 2 afternoon special editions of First Take starting at 4:30 p.m. Eastern only on ESPN. Don't miss it. To the diamond, with Major League Baseball beginning its crackdown of pitchers using foreign substances this week, Max Scherzer was checked 3 times during 5 innings of work. Each time the umpires, they found nothing illegal, the last of which was instigated by Phillies manager Joe Girardi, and Scherzer salty. Listen.
I've seen Max a long time, since 2010. Obviously, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. But I've never seen him wipe his head like he was doing tonight, ever. Going like this, right? So it was suspicious for me. He did it about 4 or 5 times. I didn't mean to offend anyone. I just got to do what's right for our club.
The only part that was sweaty on me was actually my hair. So I had to take off my hat to be able to try to get any type of, try to get some type of moisture on my hand to try to, mix with the rosin. For me, that's the confusing part. Is I'm just trying to get a grip of the ball, and you can even watching that previous at bat, the ball slipped out of my hand, almost drilled somebody in the face.
Okay, Dodger star Clayton Kershaw among the many that saw that viral clip following the Dodgers game on Tuesday night. Kershaw defending Scherzer, calling for consequences on managers if they call for checks and find nothing. I think there should be a punishment if they don't catch anything on the guy. Scherzer, one of the best pitchers of a generation. To see him get checked, I think it was a first and third situation or guys on base and mess up his rhythm. I think he ended up getting out of it, but you better find something if you are going to call him out like that. Stephen A., has baseball gone too far?
I think yes. Bottom line is, sometimes we all know shenanigans go on with pitchers. And Max, I won't go long with this, Max. I'll go with you, and then I'll come back after you say what you have to say. But you can go a bit too far, and I think that last night was a perfect example. I'm going to say this, Max. I think Girardi should be ashamed of himself. I really do. I side with Clayton Kershaw on this. And I'm going to use the word ashamed when it comes to Joe Girardi, a man of very, very, very high integrity for this reason. Because of his high integrity, because of the principled man that we all have known him to be from his days with the Yankees, obviously, to now, a great manager as far as I'm concerned. When you cast suspicion on somebody, it has weight. It matters because we know how principled you are. So to just dismiss it as you didn't mean to offend anybody, but you just got to do what's right for your team. No, it's bigger than just your team. It's bigger than just the game. You are questioning the integrity of a 3-time Cy Young Award winner, a surefire first ballot future Hall of Famer, one of the great pitchers this game has ever seen, who had already been checked twice because that's allowed in the game, to then call upon him to be checked a 3rd time. You are casting aspersions and great levels of suspicion on Max Scherzer. And if there is no evidence for that, to you to sit there and just say, oh, I've never seen him put his hand in his head like that and all of that stuff, knowing how the high integrity man that you are, the principled man that you are, and the weight that you cast the suspicions on somebody would bring, because you're so respected as an individual. It's not just about the game, and it's not just about your team. It's about the overall game of baseball and the integrity that you brought into question about Max Scherzer. If I'm Max Scherzer, I would have a huge problem with Joe Girardi, the man today, because a game is not worth what he did to Max Scherzer. Max Scherzer did not deserve that. That's what I took from it, Max.
I disagreed with your point in the beginning. I thought you argued it persuasively, but I have a different, bigger point to make, Stephen A. I love baseball. I know you did too. I know your dad was a big baseball guy. My father grew up in the South Bronx, like in the shadow of Yankee Stadium, basically in the 40s and 50s. Like, I love baseball. But I'm just sad about this because the only time we talk baseball is when there's a scandal or during the World Series. And as a boxing fan, I can tell you that is bad news, baseball fans. You usually don't come back from that. if you are marginalized to the point where we only talk about you on a national show, locally it's still it's got a following, but nationally, if there's a scandal or during the World Series and otherwise you get no shine nationally on shows, on First Take or other national shows, it's sad. You know why, Stephen A? While people are talking about who has sticky stuff on it and all this kind of stuff, Jacob deGrom, the Mets ace, is doing something right now by
Big
far.
time.
Look
Big
in
time.
the world of sports this year. No one's come close to doing what he's doing in the NBA, Major League Baseball, or the NFL. I mean, this dude has 12 starts at a .5 ERA to start the season. This is one of the great streaks ever, history of sports. And no one's talking about it because we're talking about, and by the way, when they checked him for sticky stuff, he was laughing. He's like, check me all you want. I'm clean. So it just makes me sad as a baseball fan. I thought you argued your point persuasively, but I think there's a bigger point here.
Max, Stephen A., I'm sorry to cut you guys off. Max, you were so great on this, but we got a hard out here. When we come back, Kawhi Leonard has been one of
bases through a very busy and sticky night in the majors. More sticky situations. We showed you this earlier. Joe Girardi calling for Max Scherzer to be checked for substances, leading to all kinds of drama between the two. Girardi got thrown out. A's pitcher Sergio Romo literally dropped his pants to show the umpires he wasn't hiding anything. So this is where that has gone in baseball. Meanwhile, this is more bad news for fans of the Mets. Their pitching core taking a hit. Marcus Stroman exiting the game in the second inning last night with a sore left hip. The Mets would lose 3-0 to the Braves. Stroman will undergo further testing. And then the Tampa Bay Rays, they bring up Wander Franco, considered to be the best prospect in the bigs, and he made his major league debut in style. He had a 3-run homer and added a double. The Rays would lose to the Red Sox 9-5. What's going on now with the sticky stuff in baseball? 2 nights ago there was nothing. Last night there were fireworks. That's Max Scherzer, his first start since June 11th, and he is good. There he is, first inning. He strikes out JT Realmuto, and now he's being checked. And you can just see the body language. He doesn't like it, right? But what can he do? This is the new rule in baseball. Bottom of the third, he's going to get Bryce Harper swinging. And as he walks off, he's going to get checked again by the umpires. Now Scherzer starting to heat up. And then bottom of the fourth, this thing explodes. Scherzer is going to strike out Alec Boehm right there. And Joe Girardi in the opposing dugout is going to ask the umpires to check Scherzer again. And now Scherzer loses it. The hat's on the ground, the glove's on the ground, the belt is unbuckled. He's yelling, and you can read his lips, I got nothing, I got nothing. As the search continues, Davey Martinez comes out to argue. Now he and Joe Girardi are shouting across the diamond at each other. After the search, ultimately, Scherzer looks over to the Phillies bench, and he's like, my hair is wet. Now, 5th inning, Scherzer's out there with a new hat, of all things. He strikes out Realmuto again, and as he walks off, he's staring down Joe Girardi. So what does Girardi do? He wants a piece of him. He's coming out of the dugout. Girardi gets thrown out, trying to create an issue, or at least to continue an issue, with Max Scherzer. It's nuts. Scherzer's showing you, I got nothing here. Ultimately, he and the Nationals win it by a score of 3-2. Not the best look all the way around. Joe Girardi, what happened?
I've seen Max a long time, since 2010. Obviously, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. But I've never seen him wipe his head like he was doing tonight, ever. Going like this, right? So it was suspicious for me. He did it about 4 or 5 times. I didn't mean to offend anyone. I just got to do what's right for our club.
Well, it seems that some offense was taken. Meanwhile, Oakland's pitcher Sergio Romo also didn't like the substance check. Here we go. The belt is off and the pants are down. That's pretty much a metaphor for the entire look of this thing last night in baseball. By the way, Romo and the A's would beat Texas 13-6. As we roll on, Devin Booker and the Suns got knocked down